Number one, what can we do to change the way we are perceived? To change the way we are perceived would ultimately involve changing the way we carry ourselves and present ourselves to others. This means we need to change our behavior and the way we speak to and treat others, and keep those changes up long term so that people can recognize these changes and take them into account and not disregard them. Number two, are we responsible to change a perception that we don't have control over? I think it's possible to change a person's perception, but it's not necessarily our responsibility to change that perception. So if we change our behavior and the way we speak to and treat others, it's up to that person to recognize those changes and factor them into the way they perceive you. Number three, what is your perception of the speaker you have selected? I selected a speech from Refugee Day in 2009 from Angelina Jolie, and from her speech, I found that she was very sincere and hopeful about the future for refugees. She's hopeful that people will recognize that they are individuals as well with hopes and dreams and a capacity to make change in the future. And I noticed she used pathos in her speech, which involves stirring the emotional side of the audience and hoping that she can impact them emotionally so that they are more likely to make changes for refugees in the future. I also noticed that in her speech, she has a kind tone because she's a very caring and kind-hearted person. She uses pauses in her speech, and she speaks slowly to get her point across, to make sure that it leaves an indelible impact on the audience. Number four, what are some immediate stereotypes you drew of this person before they spoke? Well, I knew that Angelina Jolie is a caring and kind-hearted person because of her history of working with refugees and visiting these countries and drawing attention to the problems in these countries with their lack of resources, lack of education, wars happening. She's always been very dedicated to drawing attention to these issues. She's also adopted many children from refugee countries, developing countries, and brought them into her own family. She uses her wealth in a way that positively impacts societies in different areas of the world. Number five, how can you alter your practice of linguistic stereotyping? So to alter your practice of linguistic stereotyping would ultimately involve listening to what the person is saying and the context of what they're saying rather than how they're saying it. So it's important to focus on context rather than how the person is saying the information. What they're presenting is the most important part. Thanks for listening.